At Prevent Blindness, we promote healthy vision and access to eye care for all. We educate people about protecting their sight. We advocate for strong vision policies at the local, state, national, and global levels. We empower the blind and low vision community and their allies, and we celebrate their achievements. Here's your host, Christopher Horde.
Greetings. My name is Christopher Horde, and I'll be your host for the July episode of the Focus on Eye Health podcast. This month, we'll talk about Prevent Blindness's Innovative Aspect Program. The program trains members of the blind and low vision community, healthcare professionals, policymakers, and allies to use their personal stories to advocate for themselves and to create better outcomes in vision care. We'll interview Aspect leaders to find out more about what the program does and how you can get involved. We'll also talk to Eric Cooley, a certified mindfulness instructor. We'll talk about what mindfulness is, ways people can use it to improve their mental well-being, and how it can be particularly useful to the blind and low vision community. As always, we'll also have news and announcements to share. Keep listening. It starts right now.
News.
Fireworks safety is crucial right now. The 4th of July is fast approaching, and with it, the danger of fireworks-related injuries. But even when the holiday is over, the chances of fireworks-related injuries still remain high. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission estimates that nearly 10,000 fireworks-related injuries could take place this year. 2/3 of those injuries will occur in the month surrounding the 4th of July. 1/3 of those injuries will happen to children 15 years old or younger. Prevent Blindness reminds listeners that the only truly safe way to enjoy a fireworks show is to attend a professional fireworks display. There is always a danger when non-professionals handle fireworks. And please, do not let children play with fireworks. Prevent Blindness has a dedicated web page of information about fireworks-related safety. It includes tips that can help preserve eyesight in case of emergencies. We also have fact sheets that you can print out and take with you for those times you don't have online access. Please visit our website at preventblindness.org or click on the link in our show notes.
Feature presentation.
To start off, I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourself and just mention your sort of main role relating to Aspect.
All right. I'm Julie Gritzmucker. I'm the Director of Patient Advocacy and Population Health Initiatives at Prevent Blindness. And I direct the Aspect program along with Liz Edwards and Janetta Price, who are Aspect program managers.
Thank you.
I'm Liz Edwards. I am, as Julie mentioned, one of the Aspect program managers, and I help with facilitating the Aspect cohorts and other things that we'll get into.
Mm-hmm.
I am Janetta Price, program manager for the Aspect program at Prevent Blindness. My role is to assist with the Aspect program and also help advocates develop their story.
Fantastic. Thank you. Let's start. Julie, I'm going to start with you because the Aspect program is something that I think we've ended up mentioning in some respect or another in pretty much every episode we've had. So I thought it would be a good idea to try to give people a bit of an overview of what exactly Aspect is and what it does, a little bit about its background.
Mm-hmm. So the Aspect program is an acronym. It's very long. It's advocacy, support, perspective, empowerment, communication, and training. What the Aspect program is it's an advocacy training program for those who have visual impairment and blindness and their allies. And along with advocacy, or part of the advocacy training, is really focused on building storytelling skills and knowledge. So equipping all of the participants with the skills and knowledge to be able to tell their own story as it relates to vision and eye health. And the importance of that is that, you can tell somebody to share their story and perspective, and they can do a good job of it. But when you train them in the techniques and frameworks to use, and encourage them to think about the why they're telling their story, and when you give them some advice on how to adapt their story to reach a certain audience and to be influential and persuasive in that communication, that really makes a big difference. That I think is what moves the needle. And this program really is all about creating positive social change in the world, specifically as it relates to the treatment and services and devices that are available, and all of the policies that impact the visually impaired and blind and their allies. It's really about using story for advocacy to make the world a more inclusive place. So we're shooting for the stars with this program. We Liz, Janetta, and I, we don't take this program lightly. We are all in. We believe in it completely, and it's really meant to change the narrative as far as many structural, systemic, inequities are out there, and we are just trying to provide a platform for people who have disabilities to speak up, and to encourage them to do so, and to keep speaking up, so that they have equal access and treatment. And for the doctors and the allies that are in the group, this is an opportunity for them to expand their perspective, and to hopefully guide them to consider new approaches in their outreach and healthcare delivery, and and all of that.
All right, thank you. And for full transparency, I am happy to state that I am an Aspect member. I was part of the 7th cohort, and some of the inspiration I took from there is part of what helped lead to the launch of this podcast. Now I'd like to move on to Liz for a moment. And please tell us a little bit about your involvement in Aspect, sort of how you got involved, maybe some of the things that you felt you took away, and what you're trying to do now.
Sure. So I started, I believe it was cohort either 6 or 7. And so I started as a participant, and I always tell the story that it kind of happened at the 9th hour. I remember the application was sitting out there, and I was like, oh my God, I jumped out of bed and I was like, wait, I gotta go apply for this program, not really fully understanding everything that it was about, but I just felt like a urgency to do it. So I joined. And it was really life-changing for me, because it really came at a very transitional time in my life. And not only just in terms of vision and vision, loss, but of which I have diabetic retinopathy. But it was also other life transitions, family change, etc. And what I learned from, or I gained through that experience, was I started to discover myself again, my voice again. I realized that my story, my potential, my gifting, my desires didn't get lost with the other things that seemed to have gotten lost in my life at that time. And it Aspect taught me to begin to find my verbiage again, to find what we call our story again, and be able to share that. And then after, I think it was involvement in 2 cohorts, and then I got, I always share this other story, that I was minding my business in the doctor's office, and I got a call from Julie. And I was like, oh, how come Julie's calling me? So I thought she was calling me like, did you put the check in for the, honorarium? I thought that's what it was all about. But she was actually offering a really opportunity to begin to give back. And for me, it was an opportunity for me to begin to walk in purpose again. And just kind of tying back to what my role is, it's really about my purpose. And my purpose is simply to help others to find their purpose. And that's what Aspect is doing for me. And that's what I do here now at this time. It's a space where can help others to begin to live what I always deem that unlived life that sits within, and to begin to make the difference in the areas of their life and in the life of others that that's important to them. And Aspect creates that platform through resources, tools, training, conversation, relationships to do that. So that's where I sit right now with Aspect.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Liz. And Janetta, I'm going to turn to you with pretty much the same questions. Can you please tell us a little bit about your involvement with Aspect, how you first got involved, and what you are doing now?
Okay. When I first got involved with the Aspect program, I received several calls from the one and only Julie. Someone heard me speak at an event locally, and I know it was a lot of people from Texas Workforce Commission, and I was one of the keynote speakers. And they informed Julie that I would be a good fit for the Aspect. I don't know that person name today, but she was right. Okay. Then when me and Julie met, it was like love at first voice. I knew I wanted to be a part of this program. I am a storyteller, and I will be able to advocate through storytelling techniques. I knew that was a game changer. So I was all the way in. I went to the Aspect program. It was a beautiful experience. I love the fact that it merged the gap between patient and provider. And I feel like that's what really stood out to me, because so many times in the Blind community, blind individuals, I'm going to say like myself, we feel like we're not heard or seen, or we not equal. And I love the fact that the Aspect program put us all at the same table together so we can advocate together. Because if we truly want change, we need a village, and everybody, all supporters, is a part of that village. Now I serve in a role as program manager, and I just truly feel like it aligns with my purpose. I am blessed to be in this role, to be able to help develop and strengthen the Aspect initiative as a whole, but most of all, to help people know that they have a story and it matters, so I love the part of storytelling and taking our hurt and turning it into healing and advocacy for eye health care. I'm all the way in. So I'm honored to serve in this role to my community, and I don't take it lightly.
Thank you, Janetta. All right. Since this is kind of a brief thing, I know we can't really cover everything we'd like to talk about. But before we finish up, I'm going to go around to each of you just to make certain, see if there's anything important that you wanted to add. I'll start with Julie. I know that the deadline for the next Aspect cohort is rapidly approaching. Will people still be able to apply in July? And do you want to say anything about that, or what people might want to do to stay in touch if they can't join this time, but they would like more information?
Mhm. Yes. So the next two cohorts, we're going to run two cohorts or two groups at a time. We're going to start the week of August 12th. So our first start date is the 12th and the 14th. I would encourage you, if you are interested, to go ahead and apply. Once you apply online, it's a short, maybe 6 question survey. It goes straight to my inbox. So I receive that email and I reach out to you to schedule an interview. If you, I go ahead and apply. I think the deadline is Monday, August 4th. But if you want to go ahead and apply after that deadline, you're welcome to do so. It just might mean that I am a little delayed in getting back to you. But there are still openings currently. Please do apply. We're especially looking at the moment for doctors, medical students, public health professionals, occupational therapists, O&M specialists, anyone working in the field who are interested in joining and gaining some new insight into the lived experience. But we have the roster is almost completely full at the moment, but we are still accepting a few more. So go ahead and apply. The one thing that I did want to add to what I initially said was just what really distinguishes Aspect, I think, from other programs is a few things. One is that it is national in scope. So we meet online, but we do have the opportunity to come together twice every 2 years in person, and that's in Washington, D.C., where we have lectures and workshops, and then we have the opportunity to go to Capitol Hill together and meet with members of Congress and advocate for certain topics. So that's an incredible opportunity. But the fact that it's national in scope really it's incredibly diverse, and it's just a really enriching experience for participants because folks are calling in from rural areas, urban areas, semi-urban. They have a wide variety of backgrounds as well. So in your group of 25 or 30, there's going to be at least 10 different states represented. So you get exposure to what folks in different areas of the country are dealing with. There are all different levels of expertise when it comes to advocacy. So do not be discouraged or intimidated if you do not have experience with advocacy. And also, the program is meant to expose you to the reality that there are so many different types of advocacy. So it could be self-advocacy, just trying to advocate for yourself, get your questions answered, asked and answered in the doctor's office, maybe, or maybe you're involved in more state or local advocacy. And others are really, really interested in legislative advocacy, really trying to advance policies and have a lot of experience. But we welcome everyone. If you are a total novice or a very seasoned professional, you're welcome. And and then, as Janetta had mentioned, a really defining feature of the program is that we bring professionals and doctors together with people who have lived experience. And lastly is that the folks with lived experience have a variety of eye conditions. So you're learning about all different types of eye conditions. It's, often, you might know a lot about your own if you have diabetic retinopathy, but you might not know much about glaucoma or keratoconus or Stargardt. And so it's really enlightening for members to join and to hear perspectives. And that knowledge is deepened by hearing the stories of what their daily life is like and transformational moments and what they're advocating for. So there's a lot of differences, a lot of diversity, but also a lot of unifying themes as well.
All right. Thank you, Julie. Liz, I'll ask you next if there's anything else you wanted to share and one thought that that I had is maybe something about what people could expect if they become a member of an aspect cohort.
Yeah. The thing that stands out to me the most is the sense of community as well that you will establish when you become a part of the aspect family. You know, as Julie said, we're comprised of it's a very diversified group. So you when you come, you're going to hear different perspectives, some that may align with your own. And the beauty of it is that there are different perspectives. And many times what you find is you get aha moments, right? You through the stories of others, when you hear how individuals have navigated through their vision loss journey. Our journeys are not necessarily the same, but they're similar. So the thing that I would encourage people to don't be afraid. Don't sometimes vision loss tends to isolate us and tend to kind of keep us off in a corner. But here's a community where it's a safe space. There's no judgment in what you share, and you get to see things from different perspectives. So I would just encourage people to know that aspect, and prevent blindness isn't just about preventing blindness and preserving sight, but it's also a space where we will learn how to preserve our life and live life, and know how to advocate for the life that you want. So that's my encouragement to others.
Well, thank you. Janetta, I'll go ahead and ask you if you've got any other points you wanted to make, but I'll also prompt you with the idea of what do you think, like who are some folks or where are they in their journey that they could really benefit from becoming part of the aspect right now in their lives?
I think everyone who have a desire to use their voice to inspire change would be a good fit for the aspect program. To me, it's the perfect place to start your mission. Your I story matter. So many times individuals they join the aspect program and sometimes not confident about their story. But when you can take your pain and turn it into purpose and begin to speak and advocate for eye health care, it not only are you making a change in our community, but also in your own life. So I just want to encourage anyone who have a desire. Like Julie said, you don't need any experience. We can teach you how to advocate through using storytelling technique to help you shape your story so you too can be seen and heard. I continue to share my story to save eyes. Because if I could share my story to help another person go get an eye exam so they can save their eyes and not go through some of the challenges I went through, that feeling is priceless to me. So to answer your question, I believe everybody who have a desire to use their voice should definitely sign up for the Aspect program to inspire that change.
Fantastic. I want to thank all of you for joining me for this interview today, and I'm certain that we'll be talking more about the Aspect program in the near future.
Special guest.
To get started, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Thank you, Chris, for asking. My name is Eric Cooley, and I am a mindfulness instructor currently at the Braille Institute of America, where I've been at for 8 years now. There I teach 2 classes a week. One is in person at the Los Angeles Center. And then now after pandemic, we've switched to one class also being offered remotely, to all of the different centers across Southern California. Now I'm also certified to teach mindfulness through the International Mindfulness Teachers Association. And I was able to become certified after completing a training program that was 1 year long from the UCLA Mindful Awareness Research Center. They call it their Trained Mindfulness Facilitator Program. So that's a little bit about my background in regards to mindfulness.
All right, thank you. Now, I think one of the first things I'd like to ask, mindfulness is a term we hear used a lot these days, and we hear it in a variety of contexts. Could you tell us, especially for people who are not familiar, something of your interpretation? What is mindfulness, and how would the layman begin to think about it?
Sure. Thank you, Chris, for asking. I first like to start off by giving the definition that's provided by UCLA. And the definition that they give is paying attention to present moment experiences with openness, curiosity, and a willingness to be with what is. Now I'll repeat that. Paying attention to present moment experiences with openness, curiosity, and a willingness to be with what is. But I'll unpack that. So there's components in the definition. First, there's paying attention. So there's a bit of focus involved, concentration. There's a little bit of effort required. The next part of the definition is to present moment experiences, which usually fall within 3 categories. There's physical sensations, whether they be internal or external. There's our mood, or what's called the feeling tone. And then a third thing that may appear are noticing our thoughts that we're experiencing on a moment-to-moment basis. And then the last part of the definition is with openness, curiosity, and a willingness to be with what is. In Zen Buddhism, they call this with beginner's mind. Or in other arenas, I've heard it called with child's mind. And it's trying to just be open-minded, to not have judgment, to remain curious or in awe as you see a flower, not just saying, oh, it's just another flower, but really exploring it, the colors, the textures, the smells. And so that's the UCLA definition, but I also like to give a couple layman definitions. Mm-hmm. One I've heard is paying attention to our attention, noticing what we're focusing on. And another layman definition I've heard is awareness of awareness itself, shining the flashlight back onto itself. And in order to do this, it helps. There are several practices that can be cultivated. One particular practice that I like to share with students and the people that I know is called the STOP acronym. S in stop is to stop whatever it is that you're doing. Then we move on to the T, which is to take a deep breath, or maybe a couple deep breaths that are a little bit longer, deeper, and slower. The O in stop is to observe and to perform what I like to call either a 3-center or 3-point check-in with yourself. The first is asking, what physical sensations are most dominant right now? Smells, tastes, sights and sounds, tactile, but it can also include hunger, temperature. Once we check in with our physical body, we then move on to the second check-in, which is our mood, the feeling tone of that present moment, which can either be positive, happy, joyful, motivated. It may be negative or unpleasant. We may feel sad or anxious, fearful, or it could also be neutral, neither nor. Sometimes where we feel bored or sleepy when we're feeling a little neutral. And then we finish the observation part with the third check-in, which is becoming aware of our thoughts that we're experiencing. We can do this by labeling our thoughts: judgment, criticism, worrying, planning, imagining. We can also notice the direction of our thoughts. Are they connected to the present moment? Are they directed towards the future? Or maybe the past? Maybe we're remembering something. And after we check in with our thoughts, we can stop with the P, which is to proceed, and return to whatever activity you are doing at that moment, whether it be writing an email, taking a nice hot bath or shower, enjoying a delicious meal, or having a conversation with another person. And by learning this skill, it has made the complete difference in my life, as far as when I notice I get weighed down by these huge, heavy boulders I'm carrying. And what I mean by boulders are my vision loss, or I also suffer from chronic pain. When I start to get weighed down too much by that, or also I use the stop practice when I start noticing I start tripping on small little pebbles that come across my path on a daily basis. Those small little pebbles are having to wait in line somewhere at the grocery store, waiting for my wife, or stuck in traffic. I can use the stop practice at that time as well.
All right. Now, one thing I do want to ask is, and you've touched on it a little bit here, for people who are blind or low vision, this is a condition that sometimes certainly can relate to depression or stress or things like that. Can you tell us maybe a little bit of how it would be particularly useful to those folks, or a little bit about how one might go about this practice?
What I've noticed, not only within myself, but also other people that learn mindfulness skills, is that they're able to more easily identify their thoughts, bring more awareness to them, and then challenge those thoughts. Because what I've noticed within my own thinking is that once I started to experience vision loss, I started to become more narrow-minded, or I thought that it wasn't going to be possible to live a more enriched, fulfilling life. And once I was able to more easily identify those thoughts, it made me challenge them and explore alternatives and adapt to learning new skills as far as accessibility to technology, rather than grieving and loathing over what I could no longer do.
All right. Now, could you give us some kind of example? I know this is the sort of thing, and it usually takes some time for the person to sort of stop and take their context or take some sense of where they are, but a little something that people could do that might help them achieve a state where they can be more objective and where they can step back and examine where they are.
I advise people that you don't necessarily need to carve out 20 minutes or half an hour or an hour out of your day to achieve this. That if you're open to it, you can weave it throughout your day in small little increments, as far as perhaps maybe when your phone is ringing, you can just stop for a moment and just, send wishes of wellness. There's what's called a loving kindness practice. You can send loving kindness to the person you're about to talk to, or yourself as well. You can also designate certain sounds in your environment, such as church bells ringing or children laughing and playing, to just kind of take a moment to stop, listen to the sound, and just be a little bit more present during that time. And it makes such a difference weaving it into your everyday life to not allow the stress to accumulate. It's like you're taking these small little moments to decompress so that there's not a pressure cooker effect. And then your body internalizes that stress.
Now, I know that you do some practice with people, helping to teach them. I know you've got a website where you've gathered a lot of resources that people can use to learn more about the topic. Could you tell a little bit more about what you make available and how people might be able to find it?
Sure. Thank you for asking, Chris. And I always like to make my stuff as accessible to everyone as possible. So I offer, my website is for free, and you can find that at mecooley.net. That's MECOOLEY.net. The me are my initials, Michael Eric, and then the Cooley is my last name. You can also find more out about mindfulness through a documentary I had the fortune of creating with 3 other teachers that have very diverse backgrounds than I do, where we talk a little bit more about the practice of mindfulness, and we also share a little bit about our backstories, about what brought us to mindfulness. And if you're interested in viewing that, it's called Is Mindfulness Right for You? It's available on Amazon Prime, for free on YouTube, Tubi, and Pluto, or it's also available for free on my website if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the practice.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being on the podcast, and thank you so much for sharing the information.
Announcements.
July is Dry Eye Awareness Month. Our eyes are constantly producing tears. This is not the same as crying. These tears help keep your eyes from drying out. Dry eye occurs when the eyes do not produce enough tear film, or when the tear film is unable to protect the eye. As many as 16 million Americans may suffer from dry eye this year. Proper eye care can help you relieve your symptoms and preserve your sight. Prevent Blindness offers a variety of free resources in both English and Spanish. These include information about symptoms and treatments. Visit our dedicated webpage at the Prevent Blindness website, or check the link in our show notes.
Listen to the podcast from our website at preventblindness.org or subscribe to it on all major podcast services, including Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. This has been your announcer, Corey M. Snow.
Thanks for listening to the Focus on Eye Health podcast. Please join us in August when we discuss Prevent Blindness's Living Well with Low Vision project, a special online hub that gathers together resources and information for blind and low vision people and those who work with them. We'll also observe Children's Eye Health and Safety Month, as well as news and announcements. Please join us. And please subscribe to the Focus on Eye Health podcast from your favorite podcast distributor. I'm your host, Christopher Horde. Thanks for listening, share, and enjoy.